Hey folks, Turbine Guy coming back to you at a big day for the city of Orono, and most likely a bad day for the Antichrist, former Orono Mayor Weasel Walsh. At 9 o'clock this morning, up in the Supreme Court, there's going to be a hearing on Walsh's election lawsuit that Orono won outright. Now get this, Soren Maddock, Orono's attorney, asked, well, what about this? Is it legit? He said, I don't know. It's unsettled law, blah, blah, blah. The incompetent, ignorant Soren Maddock. When it got to the district court, it was a slam dunk. So Soren Maddock don't even know what he's talking about. But anyways, district court, slam dunk, lose. Well, Walsh, who wanted to keep his girlfriend Claire Berret in the seat, that was the whole point of this, because he appointed her against everybody's objections. Weasel Walsh there decided to appeal, and they wanted an expedited appeal. And you know what the appeals court said? Nope, not interested at all. So in a further bid to stop the election, Walsh and his attorneys, some silly nonprofit, these people petitioned the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court actually took it up. And you know part of why they took it up? Because dumbass Orono, and what attorney would do this? You've already slam dunked him in district court. Appeals court ain't interested until after the election, which means that they're going to win. And the Orono attorneys say, yeah, you know what? That's a great idea. Why don't we go to the Supreme Court? What attorney would ask for another chance to lose for the community? That's exactly what the Orono attorneys did. I never once had Orono attorneys say, hey, you know what? When Nygaard's petitioned the Supreme Court, let's get up there and let's do it. Let's see if Nygaard's really right. Every single time they're like, no. But these attorneys, they want to get up here. I don't know. Almost seems like they're still in Walsh's pocket. I mean, with Maddock basically not understanding or informing the council, lawsuit from Walsh is pretty much BS. To these guys wanting to get to the Supreme Court, just tells the Turbine Guy that we've got some terrible representation going on in Orono. But I'm not surprised, because as I said before, I've seen the quality of their attorneying. I mean, that's how they got in double contempt of court, right? But here we are, Walsh's last-ditch effort. We're going to go in there and see if the Antichrist is here himself, which I got a feeling he won't be, but we'll see. And then we'll discuss what we saw in there and what the potential or actual outcome is. Here we are at the Judicial Center, says right on there, Minnesota Supreme Court, Court of Appeals and more. Heading up to the third floor. She said room 300, third floor. This is 200. How you doing?
No hats in it.
Yeah, I know. Here's where they'll have the hearing. Well, all done. And what you can see right behind me here, all 4 council members, except for Claire Berret, showed up for this. And you know what? The Weasel, the Antichrist himself, did not show up either, which goes to show you how important it is to these people and how unimportant this lawsuit is to the ever-litigious Weasel Walsh. It's really crazy. Oh, no exit, gotta go around. Really crazy because Walsh's lawyer from the Midwest Law Institute or something silly like that kept arguing, claiming that language was forward-thinking, prospective. Now, there's no language in the ordinance saying it had to be, or statute saying it had to be forward-thinking or perspective or anything, but that was his whole argument. And you know, I saw one judge, I think it was Thiessen up there, going, oh yeah, really trying to pull that out of him, how you can't have retroactivity. Well, in other words, grandfathering, which is really crazy, because with all the litigation I've been in with Orono, not only did they never want to get up here and take a chance to lose, but all the litigation, Orono and Walsh seem to completely argue against grandfathering. And that is Walsh's whole argument here today, is grandfathering, retroactivity. You can't have it retroactive. But the problem with that argument is the way the legislature set it up. Retroactivity is not an issue, because they say specifically, if you have a vacancy more than 2 years, then you have to have a special election before the next regular election. Well, they also say that the community has to enact an ordinance to control that election. So it's not about what happened, who was here or there beforehand, when a vacancy was, when a vacancy wasn't. None of those are the issue. Because the legislature took their time and crafted it out specifically for a process such as this. And it's pretty obvious to the turbine guy that they're going to have to rule in Orono's favor if they follow the statutory language. Something else I saw, Walsh's lawyer really didn't have answers for a lot of the questions given to him. He just kept going on this circular route. And I mean, a lot of his answers made no sense, and it was just repetitive things trying to convince somebody that the language that existed doesn't matter. We got to be forward thinking. Judges did say, because there's an election coming up next week, that they're going to have a fast ruling. They're going to get it out right away. Fortunately, you saw a couple of judges up there. One was stuck on the word vacancy without looking at the language of the statute. And like I said, Thiessen was stuck on this retroactivity. But I think there were enough judges up there who got it, that the people of Orono deserve the voice. And it's crazy because Thiessen was arguing, well, they'll get their chance in a couple of years to have their voice, but he didn't think that our voice was important now. So I don't see a unanimous ruling coming out of this, but I do see a victory for Orono. Crazy day at the Supreme Court. I mean, I got really tired of listening to the guy, forward thinking, retroactivity, and all this other BS when the statute was clear. And Orono attorney himself argued pretty well, stuck to the statute, and I think he should have leaned a little more heavily on the statute in that there are no time boundaries related to the statute. It sets out a process, and Orono merely followed that process. But that's what the district court ruled back when they had their opportunity to rule and slammed it down. One interesting thing I found out today was dumbass Soren Maddock, who thought it's not very clear what's going on, has changed his mind now that a judge ruled and hammered the opinion down that, hey, you know what? This is the way it is, and it's pretty clear. So what the hell are we doing with a dumbass attorney like Soren Maddock, who has no idea on even obvious issues guiding our city? Well, Turbine Guy from Minnesota's Judicial Center, where I think Orono's going to get a victory in the near future, signing off.